I'll just ask you for an introduction, and I'd like to ask you, who are you and what do you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Rolf Andersen.
Yeah.
I'm the CEO of Exact Brazil,
Okay.
where we have a capital fund based on Danish investors investing in Brazilian companies.
All right.
The project started about a year and a half ago when Exact Invest in Denmark asked if I was interested in setting up a private equity fund based on their current base of investors in Denmark and with the aim of investing into Brazilian companies.
Okay.
The investors behind Exact is typically family offices, it's professional, semi-professional investors.
Yeah.
Typically business people who've sold off their business and is now taking care of the capital rather than running the business.
Okay.
And they see Exact Invest as an alternative investment to the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of Exact's fund is in real estate funds.
Right.
And that's how the company started. That's historically what Exact has been doing. But about a year and a half ago, as I mentioned, they came up with the idea of opening a capital fund for investing in other type of businesses in Brazil.
Okay, I see.
And since then we've been working on establishing our fund.
Right.
We closed the first fund in May this year. And from that fund we have so far made 2 investments. One is in a Danish company called Danish, provide software solutions, software packages to the hotel industry primarily.
Wi-Fi solutions, as I understood,
solution,
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Cloud-based solution,
Yeah.
and their technology gives the hotel the ability to brand themselves for the hotel guests much
Okay.
better.
Basically, like when you go to an airport and then you need to use the Wi-Fi solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's another example. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Great.
And then the old technology that's in this market was developed 10-15 years ago, which was before the huge increase in smartphones and tablets.
Okay.
So the current hotel solutions are not really geared to handle the amount of devices that the guests they bring to the hotel today.
I see.
Most people, they travel with their laptop, they travel with their iPhone, their iPad and other brands. So the number of devices connecting through the Wi-Fi in hotels and airports, etc., has increased dramatically.
I see. So, but they are focused in hotel solutions, than Maggie, right? As I understood. Or
yes, it's primarily used for hotel, but not only.
it could be expandable.
Yes.
Right. Could go to other sectors also.
Absolutely. Danmagi is also in talk with Olympic Committee in Rio, for instance,
Okay.
to cover Rio.
They will need it. They will have a lot of work for sure.
Yeah. So there's also other type of project, but should we say the main target is hotels.
Great. And the other company?
The other company is a company up in Fortaleza, northeastern part of Brazil, which is a company focused on develop, build, and implement financial systems to the financial markets.
Okay.
So it's quite specialized software.
Right.
Where they represent the software builder, which is typically an international software company, and then they customize these packages to the financial industry in Brazil.
Okay.
They do work for Bovespa, the stock exchange, the main stock exchange in Brazil. They do work for some of the biggest stock brokerage companies in Brazil, some of the biggest banks. Most of the international banks are clients of CPQI as this company is called.
Wow. I had no idea they existed, and it's just great.
Yeah.
I mean, I see Brazil as a great hub, of technology, because there are a lot of things being produced here, a lot of startups, and I like maybe that if you could comment on that, because a lot of Danes, I'm sure they are not aware of the potential, right?
True. It's very true. there's a high degree of entrepreneurship in Brazil, and I think that has increased tremendously over the last few years. I came to Brazil first time in 2003, so I've been here for a few years. And I think in the last, especially the last 3-4 years, this has changed a lot. I think young Brazilians now understand the opportunities that Brazil offers, and they're more minded towards taking the entrepreneurial path than to taking the big company career path.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've seen studies done at universities in Brazil where they go out and ask, what is your preferred path? Where do you want to make career? And a higher percentage of Brazilians are saying, I want to be my own boss, I want to open my own companies, than in even US and Europe, where we normally, especially US, are known for high percentage of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Today, there's a higher percentage of Brazilians wanting to be entrepreneurs. So we're seeing a lot of organizations coming up to support this new environment.
Okay.
A lot of non-profit organizations, some is by government funds, others is through the universities, which are kind of meeting places for entrepreneurs to exchange ideas, get support for whatever project they're working on. But there's also a lot of private accelerators, incubators, which has come both national but also international, coming to Brazil to help this segment.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think definitely we are going to see a lot of great companies coming out of this time that will be started now, and that we will look back in 3, 4, 5, 10 years and say, wow, these are now some of the biggest companies in Brazil and perhaps even worldwide.
Yeah, that's great.
You might be aware, but there's an institute in Denmark called Institute for Future Studies, which recently opened office in Sao Paulo.
Okay.
And one of their main reasons for that was, well, they also believe that a lot of trends are going to come out of Brazil. So where today it's very much US and Europe and to some extent Asia that are initiating the trends. They strongly believe, and I agree with them, that a lot of these trends are going to come out of Latin America now.
For sure.
And start spreading to the rest of the world. So I think you will see some global companies being created in these years in Brazil and Latin America.
I totally agree with what you're saying, especially if you take a look at the publicity market in Brazil. Brazil is very well known for gaining prizes, in tennis, for instance.
Yes.
So why not the other sectors? I mean, I think there's a whole trend, emerging in this country, which I think is really wonderful to see all this wave of
absolutely
great things happening.
Absolutely.
And what would you say about the moment Brazil is living now? I mean, how do you see this country? I mean, you've been here.
What we just talked about is a very important factor actually, and I think that's one of the main reasons we are here.
Of course.
We do believe that there's going to be a lot of business opportunity created in Brazil, and a potential for being here now and being part of those businesses and help them grow. And we can bring our international experience to help these companies grow. I think that's a very important trend for Brazil these years. I think you have to live in Brazil to understand, what's going on, right? It's difficult to explain to foreigners who's never been here.
Yeah.
Brazil is not just one country. Brazil is a lot of countries, right? The varieties between the north, the south, the east, the coast, etc. is just huge. The cultural diversity is huge. So when you look at Brazil as one market, you are probably missing the point. And if you look at the headline, if you look at the growth of the country as a whole, it's not very impressive, right? It's actually quite disappointing. Yeah. But that covers a lot of nuances. It covers a lot of segments that are actually growing a lot.
Sure.
And it covers a lot of opportunities geographically that you will miss if you just look at Brazil as one market. And if you think of Brazil as 200 million people and now a middle class that is consuming more and more, the market is just huge. And I think a focused strategy will work a lot better, especially for Danish companies, which typically in a global scale are not the biggest players in the market, right? So by choosing either a geographic location or a niche market, you will get a lot further than trying to sell to everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember when I was at the consulate, we used to do this market researches for these companies who would sell, I don't know, how do you call this thing for the umbrella, but it would be the best thing for the umbrella a company would need, you know. So niche markets are great markets for Danish companies, and I mean, I think there are great opportunities, but sometimes these companies, they are small, so they will need some sort of help, a good partner here, right? Like, so yeah, interesting.
It's a difficult market to get into.
It is. It's not easy.
You need the right connection. You need to find the right local partners for whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Even the biggest companies, in my opinion, they need to team up with local resources somehow.
Of course. And what would you comment on the regulatory environment? Could you give us a picture?
It's very complicated.
Yeah. Challenging.
Very challenging. Very challenging. There's a lot of red tape.
Okay.
And you have to find your way to live with it.
Brazilian way.
Yeah, Brazilian way. But on the other hand, if you can also go, I mean, there's a line between bureaucracy and corruption, right? And you don't need to cross that line, right? You can work within the rules. You can work with the bureaucracy if you take the time to understand, you know, and dig a little deeper. You don't need to go across the line into bribes, etc.
Of course.
And I think especially that there's a fair amount of corruption in Brazil, unfortunately. But I think as a foreign company, you can always refer to the fact that, well, we are foreigners, we have a global policy. It strictly says we do not engage in corruption, we do not do bribes, we do not do anything under the table. We play by the rules. If that's not going to get us where we want, then we prefer to stay out of it. And 99 out of 100 situations that will be accepted, because even the Brazilian authorities, they do understand that foreign companies, they have these strict rules that they have to abide. So it is possible to avoid that.
That's great. Well, Rolf, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your view with Denmark, Brazil, and thank you very much, man.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, very nice.